Hi, it's Becky and Kara here from McCormick Dementia Services. In this video, we're going to demonstrate the seated exercise program that we typically do here at the day program. So this is a good exercise program for kind of all abilities, and you'll just modify it to suit your needs. So it's great for people who are at risk of falls because we'll stay seated the entire time. Obviously, if you have any pain or any kind of restrictions, just be aware of those and don't push yourself too far. If you feel pain, stop. If there's something that you feel you can't do, just kind of sit and take a few deep breaths, and then you can join us for the next exercise. We often recommend having some nice upbeat music, so we are actually going to play our Music Bingo 1950s playlist that you can find on YouTube. So hopefully it's nice and peppy to kind of energize us. With any exercise, we want to make sure that your surroundings are safe, that there's not a lot of clutter, things that you may trip on, you're wearing some good shoes. You want to keep your posture great and keep breathing throughout the whole thing. So usually when we say that, people laugh, but sometimes we hold our breath when we're doing certain things. We just want to remind everybody to breathe. Okay, so let's get started with our exercises. First, we're going to sit up nice and tall. With this exercise program, I just try to do a head to toe, gentle stretch, a little bit of range of motion. We'll get into some strengthening and then some seated balance exercises. Okay, so we're sitting nice and tall, and we're just going to start with some deep breathing. So you're going to breathe in through your nose, and then exhale, you're going to blow out through your mouth. So it's like inhale, smelling the flowers, and exhale, blowing out the candles. In. All right, so we've done our deep breathing. We're going to start with our neck exercises, nice and gentle. We're just going to turn and look over your left shoulder. Good. And then same to the right, nice and gentle. So we usually try to do each exercise maybe 6 or 8 times. Usually I forget to count. We just go until we feel like we've done enough. Good, we'll go one more to your right side. Good. Next one, we're going to tuck your chin down to your chest. So you're just going to kind of look down and then just look straight ahead. So we don't want people tilting their head far back. That can cause some problems with your spine. So you're just going to look down and straight ahead. Good. Good. The next one is still with our neck. So we're just going to take our head and tilt. So you're bringing your ear towards your shoulder. And then same with the other side. So just nice and gentle. You're probably feeling some stiffness here, and we'll just kind of gently loosen things up. So all these exercises are intended to be very gentle and slow. If you have arthritis or any kind of pain, a little bit of range of motion is definitely recommended to get your circulation, your blood flowing, carry that oxygen through your body. All right, so now we're moving down to our shoulders. So we're just going to roll the shoulders back. We say if you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders right now, you can just roll it off. We don't need it there. Good, and then we'll just roll the other way now, so you can reverse directions. Good. All right, next we're going to do some arm raises. So you can take your arms, and Kara's going to demonstrate some modifications. So if you've got a sore shoulder or some stiffness, whatever it might be, And probably a lot of you are familiar with trying to assist that one weak side. So let's do some arm raises here. So we're going to raise all the way up. Nice stretch and down. Good. And if you want, you can take a deep breath in as you raise your arms up and exhale as you lower. So a reminder to keep breathing. Good. Good. All right, next we're just going to stretch those arms straight out in front and just touch your hands to your shoulders and straighten those arms again. So if you feel popping and cracking, that's okay. So just touching those shoulders and straightening those arms straight out in front. Good. Next, with your arms straight out in front, we're just going to turn your palms up and then palms down. Palms up and down. Good. I don't know if you can hear my bones cracking, but they are. Good. All right. If your arms are feeling heavy, we'll just rest them. The next thing we'll do is turn the wrists. So just some wrist rotations here. We'll go one way, and then we'll switch and go the other way. All right, making our way to our hands now. We're just going to make a nice tight fist, and then we're going to open up all the way, squeeze tight again, and open. So this is just our warm-up right now, kind of getting all of those joints moving and the blood flowing. All right, the next is still with the hands, and we're going to bring each fingertip to your thumb, one at a time. It's maybe hard to see. So this is great for our dexterity, doing buttons and zippers and picking up coins and all of that kind of stuff. So just tapping one fingertip to your thumb, one at a time, going through all the fingers. Good. All right, and then we like to play the piano just to shake it all out. This is the only kind of piano I can play, the air piano. Okay, so that's kind of stretched out our upper body a little bit. We're going to move on to the legs now. So we're just going to do some marching on the spot. This might get our heartbeat going a little bit. Limber up our legs, our hips. So we're going to march for a little bit, and then we're going to add in the arms too if you want an extra boost. We're going to get the arms and the legs going. And hopefully you're starting to feel a little warmth in your body, starting to heat up a little bit. Of course, if at any time you need to take a little break, just stop and take a few deep breaths and join us again when you can. All right, next we're going to do some fast feet. So we're going to get those feet going as fast as you can. So you're running on the spot, fast as you can. Good, and then we're going to march it out again. So bring those knees up as high as they'll go this time. Good, and then we run again, fast feet. Good, and high knees, march it out. Good. All right, next we're going to stretch the knees. So staying seated, we're just going to straighten one leg all the way and then the other. So straighten and bend, straighten and bend, kind of like you're kicking a ball. Sometimes we joke, imagine somebody you don't like in front of you and you just give them a kick. Just for fun, of course. And again, some people might have stiff hips, stiff knees. Just do what you can to try to limber them up a little bit. All right, next we're moving on down to our ankles and our feet. So we're just gonna do some toe taps. So you're just lifting your toes up and down. You're still sitting nice and tall, hopefully, still breathing, smiling. Good, now we're gonna do the opposite. We're just gonna lift the heels up and down. So pushing up on the tips of your toes and down. Okay, so that's the end of our warm-up. Next, we're gonna get our hand weights and do some of our strengthening exercises. If you don't have hand weights at home, you can kind of look around your house and see what you might find. Some people use water bottles or soup cans. Kara has some bouncy balls here. They're light, but it's, you know, a little bit of resistance. You're hanging on to something. If you don't have anything, you can just do what we call against gravity, which is sometimes a good enough challenge. So we've got our weights and our balls here. So we're gonna start with a shoulder press. So we're gonna start with our hands up at our shoulders and just push all the way up overhead and then lower down. So we do wanna keep breathing here. Good, nice deep breaths as you push up overhead. Good, and we're sitting tall, we're still smiling. We're happy to be exercising again. Good, so Kara's kind of showing how if that one arm doesn't want to go up on its own, how she could help push it up a little bit. Good, and classic Becky, I forgot to count, so we'll do one more and that feels like enough, right? Good. All right, so we just take a break here. I'm going to take a couple deep breaths. Good, one more deep breath. Good. All right, the next is going to be a shoulder raise. So I'm starting with my hands on my knees. I'm still holding those weights. I'm going to keep my elbows straight, and I'm just going to raise my hands up to my shoulder height and then lower down slowly. Okay, so raise up, elbows straight, and lower down. Good. Of course, we're breathing, smiling. Good. Now, typically, anybody who's leading an exercise class will encourage you to do things slowly and controlled, because if we do this, then it's more kind of momentum doing the work rather than our muscles. So we want to do things slow and controlled for that extra challenge. Good. Alrighty, take a break again. A few deep breaths. Okay, the next one is we're going to hop in our boat and we're going to row the boat. So you've got your oars in your hands. We're going to start with those arms straight out in front. Then we're just going to row back and forward. So as you row back, you might want to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Rowing back and forward. Good. And I'm not counting. We'll say that maybe this is 7, 8. Let's go to 10 here. If this feels too easy, maybe your weights are too light. And if you have something heavier, you could try heavier weights next time. If it's too hard, then just take a break. All right, a few deep breaths. Okay, we're going to give our arms a little bit of a rest, and we're going to do a couple exercises with our weight or our legs now. So we're going to put both weights on one leg, close to your knee. Just hold them there with your hand. And then what we're going to do is raise that knee up and lower it slowly. So it's kind of like a hip exercise. Good. Now, if 2 weights on your knee is too much, you can just put 1 or not any weights at all. So just we're slowly lifting that knee up and slowly lowering. Good, let's do a couple more if you can. Okay, so we're going to take our weights now and just move them over to the other leg if you can. And the same thing, we'll bring that knee up and lower. And we always joke it's a good thing we're not a spider, or we'd be here for a long time doing all of our leg exercises. Good, couple more. Good. Okay, and again, we'll just pause, take a couple deep breaths, sit up nice and tall, breathe. Okay, you're going to take your weights back in both your hands now, or whatever it is you're using for resistance, if it's your water bottles. The next one, we're just going to tuck your elbows into your side. You're going to have your weights kind of like in a L shape there, and we're just going to kind of open and shut. So kind of like you're opening doors and closing doors. Kind of, if you can, trying to keep your elbows tucked into your sides. Good, so this is a shoulder exercise. Good, still breathing and smiling. Good. All right, take a little break. The next exercise, we're going to hold those weights straight out in front again. And this exercise, your arms will get tired, so just stop when you need to. You're just going to turn your palms up and then palms down, holding on to those weights straight out in front. Good. Good. Okay. So that is pretty well all that we typically do in our seated exercise program with our weights. So we're going to put our weights down, and then the next series is some seated balance exercises. Okay, the next portion of our seated exercise program is some balance exercises. So we're going to do these from the chair. So first what you're going to do is you're going to kind of slide your bum forward closer to the edge of your seat. You don't want to live on the edge too much, but definitely slide your bottom forward a little bit, sitting up nice and tall. Okay, we're going to stretch those arms straight out in front. Going to bend at the waist, and we're just going to reach as far forward as we can. We're not necessarily trying to reach our toes, but more straight ahead. So we're bending and we're reaching. We do have to caution people who have, osteoporosis and some spinal problems. Sometimes these forward flexion and twisting motions are not recommended for folks with those conditions, so just exercise caution here. So straight out in front again, bending and reaching. Good, forward. I'm a chocoholic, so I always say bend like there's a big pot of chocolate out there that you just have to have. Reach as far as you can. And sit up tall. Let's do one more, as far as you can forward. Good. Okay, the next one is a bit of a twist. Again, if you have any spinal problems, probably want to avoid these. So we're just going to start with our arms straight out in front again, and we're going to twist your torso to the left and kind of bend as far as you can to the left. Good. Back to the front and center, and then twist to your right and lean as far as you can to your right. Good, and switch again. And switch. And switch again. Good, we'll go one more to this side. Good, sitting up nice and tall again. Take a few deep breaths. Hopefully everyone's doing okay. The next balance exercise, we're gonna sit tall. You're gonna raise one hand up overhead. So we have our right hands up, and we're gonna lean over our left side. So it's kind of a tilt to the side. Good, and then we'll switch hands. So we have our left hand up, and we're gonna lean to our right side. So sometimes it's like we're a teapot, tip us over and pour us out. Kind of that motion, up and over. We'll do one more to this side. Okay, so that's the end of the balance exercises. Next we do just a gentle cool down and a couple of core exercises to work on our stomachs and our backs. You know, maybe it's bathing suit season and we're getting our bikini bodies ready, so we don't want to miss out on that. So let's just sit nice and tall. So what we'll do for our core is we're going to still be kind of close to the edge of your seat. And you're going to put both hands on your armrest. So hopefully you're sitting in a chair that has armrest. If not, you can kind of hold on to the seat. So hands on your armrest. And at the same time, you're going to bring both knees up towards your chest. So your feet are off the floor. And then down. So there's probably a lot of moaning and groaning going on right now because this is a tough exercise for your stomach muscles. So the more you're close, the further, the more your seat is close to the edge, the more you can lean back, which makes it a little bit easier. So if you're still sitting far back and bringing your knees up, you don't have as far to tilt back. So on the edge of your seat, hands on your armrest. Let's try it again. Both knees up at the same time if you can. And down. And let's do that just one more time. Both knees up. Very good. We'll hold it. Smile. And down. Okay. The next exercise for our core, similar position. So bum forward, hands on your armrest. This time we're just going to ride our bicycle. So both feet are off the ground. We're cycling around. And then we need to take a little break, so we'll rest, take a few deep breaths. Good, let's do that again. So we're going to bring the knees up and your feet up, just as if you're pedaling a bicycle in the air, going nowhere fast. Good. All right. Let's finish with a couple of stretches now. So sitting nice and tall, let's just bring your arms straight out in front, link your fingers together, and just kind of reach forward. Kind of feels like you're bringing your shoulders apart in the back. And then sit up nice and tall. Let's do it again. So your fingers are interlaced, just kind of reaching forward a little bit. Good. And we can try to bring one arm across our chest here, stretching the shoulder out a little bit. Good. And the other way, so you're bringing your arm across the chest if you can, with your other hand just kind of holding it there, stretching a little bit. Good. All right, let's stretch out those stiff hips a little bit. So let's bring one knee up into a bit of a hug. Again, there may be some moaning and groaning here. So we'll just hold that hip up a little bit. Give it a bit of a hug if you can. Good. And then switch to the other leg. Bringing that knee up. You might find that you have one side that's a little bit more stiff than the other. Now, if you've had a hip replacement or any kind of hip surgery, this might be an exercise that you want to avoid. You probably have had instructions from your surgeon not to do a lot of hip flexions. So if that's something that you've experienced, then you can just do some deep breathing throughout this exercise. Keep smiling with us. Let's bring one leg up one more time. Good, and switch. Balance things out. Okay, now we're going to stretch the hamstrings out, which is the muscle behind our knee. It's typically very tight for a lot of people. So sitting in our chair, we're just going to straighten one leg out all the way. And we're going to flex that ankle back. And when you flex it back, that's when you really feel that pull behind your knee. That's your hamstring muscle. Okay, let's point those toes forward. Good, flex back, feel that pull. And just do some deep breathing through it. Good, so kind of bending and pointing. And then while we've got our leg up, let's just do some ankle circles, roll the ankle around. Good, and we'll switch and go the other direction. Okay, let's rest that leg and switch to the other one now, straightening that leg straight out in front. Again, we'll just start by flexing that ankle, bending those toes back towards your nose. You feel that pull behind your knee. And point forward. Good, flex back again. And point. Good, one more time back. And forward. And then roll that ankle around. Good, and then the other way. Good. Okay, so we are almost done. So we're just going to sit up nice and tall again, and we always like to finish with some deep breathing. So again, we're going to breathe in through our nose. And blow out. Good. Inhale. And exhale. In. All right, and we always like to end it with a nice big hug for yourself. So you can wrap your arms around and give yourself a hug or two. Maybe a pat on the back. All right, so that's the end of our seated exercise program. We hope that you feel a little bit more energized now. You've got the blood flowing. Okay, the next part of our exercise program is a little bit more advanced. It's more suitable for people who do not have any balance concerns. They're not unsteady, pretty strong and stable. So the next portion of the exercise will be done in standing position. We do recommend to have something stable close by to hang on to. Kara's going to demonstrate doing all the exercises, just lightly holding on to a chair just in case she's a little bit unsteady at times or needs that extra support. So have something stable close by within reach, whether it's a chair or a table, something that's stable. Okay, so this exercise portion will have a little bit of cardio just to get your heart rate up a little bit more, and then it's a series of exercises for balance and just kind of overall strengthening. Okay, so we've got our music on. Let's get started. So we're just going to start with marching on the spot. So again, Kara's just hanging on lightly to the chair if you need it, if you feel fine. Again, you want to make sure there's nothing in your way that you're going to trip on, or no rugs you're going to get caught your feet up in. So if you want to add your arms in, we'll just march on the spot for a little bit, get the blood pumping, the heart rate going a little bit. Of course, if you need to take a break at any time, just stop and take a few deep breaths and join us again when you're ready. So this is great if you can't get outside for a walk for whatever reason. You can still get a little bit of benefit this way. Okay, so now we're going to move on to some toe and heel raises. So I'm just going to back up so you can see my feet, hopefully. So Kara's hanging onto the chair, but we're just going to push up onto the tips of our toes and down, and up and down. So this is a balance exercise, but you will feel it in your calf muscles, which is kind of in the back of your lower leg there. We have a lot of exercises that, or a lot of muscles that help strengthen different parts that contribute to stability and balance. And so this is what we want to do, is kind of work on all of those different muscles. All right, now we're going to do the opposite. And I would say you definitely want something to hold on to. Now we're going to do the opposite, and you definitely want something to hold on to for this one, because you're going to bring your toes up, which is a pretty different kind of movement. So you're going to lift your toes up off the floor. And now you might feel this a little bit more in the front of your leg and your shin there. So whenever we do our exercises, we want to try to balance out our muscles. So if we do an exercise for something on the back, we want to do the same for the front. All right, the next are high knee exercises. So you're just going to bring your knee up a little bit higher than when you're doing your regular march. So it's quite exaggerated. And if you want to go faster with this, you can. So nice high knees. Hopefully you can hear our music, or you have your own music in the background to keep things pumping. All right, the next exercise, we don't have a better name for it, so it's just called a butt kick. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring your heel up to your backside. So you're just bringing it up as high as it'll go, one leg and then the other. So you can probably feel that in the back of your leg on that tight hamstring that everybody has. Okay, so we'll take a little breather here, a few deep breaths again if you need it. So in through the nose and out. Good, kind of shake things out. All right, the next one we're going to do is a modification of a jumping jack. So we're definitely not going to be doing a full out jumping jack, but just kind of those motions. So you're going to start by bringing one leg out to the side and one arm up. And we can keep going on the same side if you're holding on to something stable, which we definitely recommend. So it's kind of like a half jumping jack right now. So we'll do a few of these, and then we'll switch over to the other side. Good. Let's do a couple more because I never remember to count. Okay, so now the other way. So Kara's going to keep holding on, but if you don't need to, you bring your other arm and leg out to the up and out to the side. And if you want to go faster, you can, or if you want to have both arms going if you are feeling very stable. Okay, let's take a little breather there. A few deep breaths. Good. All right, so now more to the strengthening. So it feels like we just did this exercise, but I kind of want you to flex these muscles that are involved here. So we're just going to bring your we'll start with our left leg, and it's just going to keep your leg straight, bring it out to the side and back to the center. And hopefully you can feel some of those muscles there as you do that, and you kind of want to flex them. So we'll repeat on the same leg for 8 or 10 or until I decide that feels like enough, because I don't remember to count. Okay, and then you're going to switch and we'll do the same thing on the other leg. So you're going to keep your knee straight, out to the side and back to the middle. Good. All right, the next one is we're going to keep the leg straight again, and we're just going to bring it straight behind you. So you're kind of kicking straight back. So Kara's going to turn to demonstrate your legs straight, and as you bring it back, you're really trying to flex that buttocks muscle. Buns of steel. So definitely all the muscles around our hips and within our buttocks definitely help us to keep our posture upright, to give us strength to stand, to walk, to all of those things. Okay, let's switch to the other leg now. So again, keeping that leg straight, straight back and back down. So when you bring it back, you're flexing. Good. Okay, so the next exercise, we're going to give the legs, the hips, the butt a little bit of a break. We're actually going to do a push-up on the wall. So you may need a minute to find a clear space where you can do this safely. So Kara's just going to demonstrate using one of our cabinets here. So she's just putting her hands against the wall, and then she's just going to slowly bring her body closer and then use her arms to push herself straight back. So imagine doing a push-up, but just doing it against the wall. Now, if that feels too easy, Kara could move her feet further away from the wall, and it makes the push-up much more difficult. And of course, just the opposite. If that's too difficult, then Kara could move her feet closer to the wall, and it's just a smaller motion. So you're going to do maybe 8 or 10 of those wall push-ups. And if you want to do it after we're done this part of the class, if you have to go somewhere else to be able to do that safely, then you could do that after. So that's the wall push-up. All right, we're going to go back into another cardio exercise. So we'll just get everybody to take a few deep breaths to kind of get your heart rate back down for a minute and relax. So in through the nose and out. Good. Okay, so hopefully everyone's feeling okay. Of course, if you feel like this is a little bit too strenuous, we would recommend that you sit down, take a little break, and just join us when you feel like you're ready again. The next cardio exercise, something that gets our heart rate going, we're going to do a modified skip. So we're not going to do a full-out jump rope, but imagine you're holding a jump rope in your hands, and you're going to twist it around. So you're turning your jump rope, you're imagining your jump rope, and then let's start just marching a little bit. So we're not going to do a big hop or anything, but imagine you're, maybe 10 again, skipping, no cares in the world. Maybe you're fancy and you can do, woo! Okay, I'll fix that. Okay, so we've finished our skipping, and now we're going to do more standing balance exercises, and it's a series of reaching. So Kara's going to demonstrate kind of keeping the chair close by. So what you're going to do is stand up nice and tall, stretch your arms straight out in front, going to bend at the waist and reach as far forward as possible. Good, and then stand nice and tall. And let's do it again. So we're just going to bend and reach. So the thing about balance is the only way that we can try to improve our balance is by putting yourself out of balance. This is why we do some of these exercises for reaching, just to really challenge our balance, but not challenge it so much that you end up doing a cartwheel. Okay, so let's do one more to the center. Reach as far forward as you can. Nice and tall. Okay, the next is twisting side to side. So we did this earlier in the chair. So if you're feeling tired, you could sit and do it there. But if you're ready, we're going to twist and reach as far to one side as you can. Good. And then the other way. So Kara just has the chair in front of her, and if she ever feels kind of off balance, then she could kind of steady herself with it. So with a lot of balance exercises, you kind of want to do them slow and controlled. You can push yourself as far as you can safely. Okay, so facing forward again. Now we're going to raise one hand up overhead. So I have my right hand up, and I'm going to tilt and lean over my left side. Good, and then we'll do the opposite. So left hand up and lean to your right side. Good. Switch again, up and over. So this is still a balance exercise, but also a nice stretch. It's like a 2-for-1. It's a special deal on today. Okay, shake it out. All right, next we're going to have a seat. And what we're going to do is some sit to stand exercises. So there's a couple of different variations for difficulty for the sit to stand. So Kara will show the kind of the easier, the modified version. She's going to use her hands, lean forward and push up to stand. And then what I'll demonstrate is the more advanced option if your legs are very strong, your balance is steady, that kind of stuff. So if you want to follow me, you can cross your hands. Or if you're going to follow Kara, you're going to put your hands on the armrest. We're going to lean forward and we're going to stand. And then we're going to bend our knees a little bit and sit back down on that chair. So again, we're going to stand. So Kara's, as she's sitting, reaching back to hold on to the chair to sit down. Forward. And if you want an extra challenge, rather than sitting down all the way, you can just do a bit of a squat and stand back up. And you're really going to feel that in your buttocks, the back of your legs. It's kind of a bit of a mini squat, but you can alternate. You can sit down in between and stand. So we'll aim for about 10 of these sit to stand exercises. So let's say we're going to do 2 more. 1 and 2. Okay, so I think we covered everything in the standing balance exercises with a little bit of cardio. So we'll just conclude it with a little bit of deep breathing now. So we'll breathe in through the nose and out. All right, and of course, we're going to finish with a great big hug for yourself and a pat on the back. Thanks for participating in our exercise today, and we hope you have a great day.